Let's bring in Alan Cowles. He is the prospective parliamentary candidate for UKIP in the Rother Valley, which is the neighbouring constituency to where we are. So it's just some facts and figures. I'm sure you know them already. They're specifically for here, but I'm sure your borough is very similar. Unemployment 14%, average earnings less than £400 a week gross. More over 60s than under 17s. This one particularly is the 53rd most deprived council district in England. I'm sure that is more or less a reflection of what's happening in your prospective constituency as well. What would UKIP do to fix it?
Well, I think first of all, to tackle that problem, we have to deal with immigration, and Labour have recognised that. Rachel Reeves said recently the negative impact on the low-paid and low-skilled of mass immigration. That's been repeated by Ed Miliband, who accepts the fact. It's been repeated by Yvette Cooper on the 28th of November. And finally, Andy Burnham said after the Middleton and Haywood by-election, the negative impact on the working class of mass immigration. We have to stop it.
Okay, so what is the percentage immigration in your prospective constituency?
I'm not quite sure exactly what it is.
But you should know, shouldn't you?
Perhaps I should know. I don't know the exact figure in.
But if it's a key plank for what you're talking about, you should know what the percentages are.
I don't know all the percentages. I don't actually know that one.
Okay, what do you think it is?
I would think it's about 14%.
Okay, here it's 8%, and as a result, that's not a big issue compared to lots of other issues. Certainly 8% of the population being immigrant is not a big issue here, or should it be?
I think it is a big issue here, and
when I've been talking to people, it's not what they've brought up as the key problems that they're facing.
Well, I think that if you look at the Sunday papers, for instance, and we look at what the most important issue is...
Nationally or locally?
Nationally, it is
what
immigration.
About locally?
Well, it's a big issue locally. Plenty of people tell me. I talk to a lot of old people who live near me, and they make it quite clear that they are afraid to come into this town centre and intimidated by all the foreign nationals that they come across.
So you think that foreign nationals come and cause trouble in the town centre?
I didn't say they came.
So what are you saying then?
I didn't say they came and caused trouble. I'm saying that it is a significant issue, and it needs to be addressed.
But presumably that's not down to just to foreign nationals. If people want to cause a bit of mischief, then that's what they're going to do, isn't it?
I think if they want to cause a bit of mischief, they will always cause a bit of mischief.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily foreign nationals that are doing that.
But I didn't say that it was mischief.
Yeah, you did.
I know I didn't.
What did you say?
I just said that old people in this town are intimidated and afraid to come into the town centre. These are people who have paid taxes.
Because of foreign nationals?
Because of immigrants, exactly. But that's not mischief, is it?
So what would they be doing that would otherwise intimidate local elderly people? Why would they be intimidated? I don't get it.
Because they're afraid of hearing all the different languages. They're afraid of the different culture classes. This has been introduced far too quickly for them to cope with the change that it's had on their lives and the impact.
That's interesting. I mean, I'm from Wigan in Lancashire originally, and a lot of people of either Asian descent or non-white, black as well, from Jamaica, that sort of area, were, when I was a kid, 30, 40 years ago, were very much part of my background and upbringing. So why do you think it's a new issue? I don't get that.
It's a new issue because of the volume and the speed at which it's happened.
But 40 years is not quick, is it?
No, but then you had low numbers. I've heard this argument many times.
But 8%'s not high.
But 8% when it's occurred at the speed it's occurred is a big number.
But you don't know what speed it's occurred at, because I asked you and you said you didn't even know what the percentages were.
I didn't know the percentages, but I know that the volumes increased dramatically since 2000.
But how do you know that if you don't know what the percentages are?
Because I talk to the residents in my
but if you want to be the prospective parliamentary candidate, that's one of the main planks of your argument, you need to know that, don't you?
Well, I'll find out that particular figure. I'll make sure I know.
But you knew you were coming on the telly, didn't you?
I knew I was coming on the telly, absolutely.
So why didn't you make sure you knew that?
I didn't look up that particular figure, that's all.
Okay, so what else do you want to discuss as far as UKIP is concerned? What else would you bring to the party?
I think we will talk about all the big issues. We'll talk about the EU, we'll talk about the NHS.
What would you like to happen as far as the NHS is concerned?
Well, I think we've made our point clear. UKIP is quite clear that it will be free at the point of delivery, and there is no issue or concern about that. There will be no privatisation.
Will there be any cuts?
There's going to be no reason to have cuts. There will be every reason to ensure that people get the health service they want free at the point of delivery.
So National Health Service would be ring-fenced if UKIP was successful in Rother Valley?
Absolutely.
Okay, what else? What other budgets would be ring-fenced?
I think child services will be ring-fenced. That's been a big issue where clearly, again, Labour have fallen down in this town. They have, let down the most vulnerable in our society. That is the children.
And they've paid for that, haven't they? A lot of people have been sacked or stepped down as a result.
Well, who's actually stepped down? I've not seen too many Labour councillors who've stepped down.
Yeah, but hasn't the leader of the Labour council stepped down?
The Labour leader has resigned, that's all.
Didn't Sean Wright step down, who was
He wasn't a councillor.
He was at the time.
No.
Yeah, he was in charge. Yeah,
but not when he resigned.
I don't think you've done your research again.
No, I have.
No, actually, I think he was in charge of social services or children's services during the 16 years, or a part of those 16 years.
Yes, he was.
And that was why he was asked to step down, not because he was the PCC.
I agree. And then when he became PCC, that's when he stepped down.
Yeah, but he had to as a result of the report.
Well, he did have to step down as a result of the report.
And so he did step down. So that was another Labour scalp. So you said there weren't, but in fact there have been, haven't there?
I said among the councillors there has been one Labour scalp.
Okay, so how would you describe Sean Wright's scalp?
How would I describe it? I would describe it as a very necessary thing for him to have done. He had to resign.
Okay, and Rother Valley,
but
you hope...
let's face it, he had to be forced.
Okay, that's most certainly true, but he was a councillor previously.
He was during that.
Yeah.
That
anyway,
period,
those are semantics that I'm sure a lot of people who are watching up and down the country will appreciate us discussing, but nevertheless they will understand. A final thought, as far as Rother Valley is concerned, what would you say to the people who are watching in that constituency this afternoon to convince them to vote UKIP? Because the gentleman that's been there since 1983, Kevin Barron, the Labour MP, is pretty confident that he's going to win.
Well, I don't see why he should be confident, because his majority has fallen from 30,000 when he took over down to less than 6 at the last election. People know at this election that their vote will count. For the first time in a generation, it will count. So they are going to vote this time. And all the Tory voters, I would say to them, if they continue to vote Tory, and there isn't a Tory candidate yet, but if they continue to vote Tory, that is a vote for Labour. If they vote UKIP, we have a great chance to win and get rid of the Labour candidate.
Percentages for us. Thanks very much indeed. Thanks a lot. Thanks for joining us here on Sky News this afternoon. Thanks a lot. So just wanted to bring you along.